A cheery blonde is seen stretching and getting ready for the day. 10 years had passed since that horrible accident, according to the news in the background. The television shows what looks to be a building being destroyed by a massive, unexplained object. It also declares that a brand new tower called Enkuboku is being constructed as a peace symbol in honor of the incident. Our protagonist answers a call and then leaves for work while beginning an internal monologue. We observe someone zipping what seems to be a timed bomb into a gym bag while she speaks about how tranquil Japan is. Other sequences with a uniformed female preventing crime use a similar plot device. The protagonist then says, erase, eliminate, remove, and beautify, asserting that this way of thinking has rendered risks obsolete. Before the title appears on the screen, she adds, this is the purpose of a Lycoris. A man with a sniper rifle named Mika is asked if Chisato is nearby. We later find that Chisato is the blonde protagonist from earlier. Although Mika claims to not have arrived yet, she informs the reporter that a Lycoris is in danger. Just before this entity's operational systems abruptly shut down, he observes a Lycoris being held at gunpoint over her head via the scope of his sniper rifle. A Lycoris with long black hair fires a powerful machine gun at the gunman holding the other Lycoris hostage. A Lycoris with short brown hair snaps at the Lycoris with black hair and punches in response, which seems to be creating tension. Chisato is shown in the next scene talking on the phone to Miko once more. The anonymous correspondent informs the black-haired Lycoris from earlier that she'll be transferred as a result of disobeying the orders to stand by in the prior incident. She's sent to a new station, which resembles a coffee shop, where she's informed that another Lycoris is assigned. She looks inside the coffee shop, admiring the stained glass windows and the space's ancient appearance. The next character we meet is a girl wearing spectacles who moans about not having a romantic life. The Lycoris with black hair identifies herself as Takina Inoue. After being corrected and informed that the woman wearing glasses is named Mizuki, Inoue continues to think the girl wearing glasses is Chisato. The cafe, which turns out to be Lyco Rico, is later visited by Chisato, who comes just as Mizuki begins to gripe about the noisy one. Chisato and Inoue depart Lyco Rico and start their jobs. She merely replies that Chisato is their problem child when Inoue inquires as to why she's no longer employed by the DA. Then Inoue claims to have heard that Chisato was to blame for the painful episode. But she swiftly clarifies that Chisato was actually protecting the city from terrorists at the time, not that it was her responsibility in the first place. Back at Lyco Rico, Mika is on the phone talking about lost guns with a reporter. Then it's revealed that Inoue's incident prevented them from getting information about the weaponry from the dealer. The unknown woman with the creature then discusses a hacker known as the Wizard of the Dark Web, who has since been identified as the DA. Chisato clarifies that the division she was assigned to exists to serve individuals in need, even if that means bringing coffee and teaching at a school, or even acting as hitmen when necessary. Inoue questions how being a Lycoris relates to all the smaller chores they're performing. Abe, a police officer in the area, is introduced to Inoue by Chisato. Chisato happily agrees when Abe begs the girls to help him with a stalking case. Even though he agrees to go along, Inoue is more worried about how the DA would evaluate this specific job. Chisato casually remarks how the DA typically exploits circumstances like that and fabricates stories to support their story. Inoue is astonished by this, and even more so when Chisato compliments her for the reason Inoue was originally reassigned. Chisato spots the girl they're supposed to ask about the stalking she has suffered before the session can begin. Inoue realizes they are being followed by a van. Inoue instructs the stalked girl to go ahead of her to lure the stalkers while she runs into an alley because Chisato left the girls alone. Inoue starts shooting at the van and starts shouting at the sellers, wanting them to tell her where all the firearms went. She also keeps shooting at the van. Chisato discovers her and approaches her, requesting to know what she's doing. She quickly and easily takes them out with a fight, which is an unexpected departure from her upbeat attitude. When we return to Lyco Rico, Mizuki is there bemoaning the stalked girl and her lover's selfie and blaming her love for getting her into this mess. The finding of the weapons trade visible in the backdrop of the aforementioned selfie is then reported to Mika by Chisato. Chisato then inquires as to whether Inoue can be reinstated to her original Lycoris divisions if the situation of the weapons trade can be cleared up. After the entire crew poses for a group shot in their new uniforms for the cafe, the man who was speaking to the enigmatic hacker enters the store. The only person who seems to recognize him is Mika. When it is discovered that Walnut has survived the assassination attempt, he learns that fellow hacker Robota has betrayed him. Then, Walnut speaks with Mizuki. It's later discovered that the man from the Allen Institute is Mr. Yoshi, a frequent customer of the cafe. The next objective for Chisato and Takina is to free Walnut from the clutches of Robota's hired killers and lead him to safety. They come across Walnut, who is hiding his identity by dressing like a squirrel. Takina and Chisato repel his assassins, with Chisato even helping the wounded. But as they flee, another group of killers shoots Walnut to death. Robota then informs Yoshi of his accomplishment. As Chisato and Takina remove Walnut's body, Mizuki, who served as Walnut's body double in a bulletproof suit, shocks them by emerging from the suit. She and Mika devised a complex scheme to pretend that Walnut had passed away, while the real Walnut emerges as a young girl named Kurumi. Kurumi chooses to seek refuge in Lyco for her own protection, in exchange for using her abilities to assist Chisato and Takina on their missions. Chisato then asks Kurumi for assistance in finding the arms dealers depicted in Sayori's photograph. Takina has been working at Lyco for a while, but she still avoids Chisato and the regulars at the cafe. Takina agrees to go with Chisato when she has to go back to the DA headquarters for a physical in order to ask Commander Kusunoki to reinstate her. Takina is ridiculed by the other Lycorists when she gets to headquarters, though, because of untrue accusations that she likes to shoot her comrades. Takina's previous team leader, Fuki Harukawa, has, to her dismay, already been replaced by Sakura Otome, and Kusunoki has no plans to have Takina return to DA HQ. This infuriates Chisato since she's discovered that Kusunoki exploited Takina as a scapegoat to conceal the hack of DA's sophisticated Al Radiata during the expedition. Then, Chisato urges Takina to first give life outside of DA a try in an effort to uplift her. Then, Chisato and Takina engage in mock combat against Fuki and Sakura, which they ultimately win because of their cooperation. And Chisato's almost superhuman capacity for instantaneous bullet trajectory prediction. Takina chooses to join Chisato and the regulars at the cafe for a game session as soon as they get back to Lyco because she has a newfound respect for her. Takina decides, at Chisato's suggestion, to use ordinary bullets to target non-vital organs after proving ineffective with the non-lethal shots. To help Takina get adjusted to her life away from work, Chisato decides to take her shopping for clothes, and to a restaurant and aquarium. When Takina inquires, Chisato responds that she chooses not to kill and left the DA to look for someone who had assisted her 10 years earlier. Takina starts to embrace her life outside the DA after enjoying her time with Chisato. Yoshi and Mika later cross paths again. Mika questions why Yoshi has never acknowledged that he was the one who admitted Chisato to the Allen Institute, but Yoshi responds that it's against company policy. A terrorist named Majima starts a fire on a metro train as Takina and Chisato are returning to Lyco, but he's ambushed by a Lycorus squad inside, who shoots his guys to death. Majima uses explosives to hide his escape after being cornered. Then, Robota gets in touch with him and asks for his assistance in fending off the Lycorus, but Majima declines. A month after the terrorist attack on Majima, Chisato informs her co-workers of their new task, escorting Matsushita, a terminally sick magnet who uses a wheelchair, around Japan. Chisato then confirms to Takina that she has an artificial heart as they show him around Tokyo. In the meantime, two investigators find subway evidence of a terrorist strike. Following Matsushita, Kurumi spots Jin, an assassin Mika recalls working with 15 years earlier. Matsushita pulls free from Chisato as Takina tries to stop Jin. According to Matsushita, Jin slaughtered his family, and their true goal is to kill him in retaliation. After hurting Takina, Chisato is able to paralyze Jin, but Matsushita then shows up and commands her to kill Jin. Matsushita's devices abruptly stop working, killing him after she refuses to do so. In the debriefing, Mika clarifies that Matsushita was only the physical embodiment of an elderly drug user who was controlled by devices in his wheelchair. He is discovered to be under the control of an Allen Institute employee who chooses to alter plans. Majima and his people ambush and kill one of the Lycorists, proclaiming that this is just the beginning of many such attacks. Takina chooses to live with Chisato in order to assure their protection following a number of other violent attacks on Lycoris agents. Robota has 3 more days to find the DA headquarters after an irate Majima enters his flat. Using his drone, he finds Chisato's house and captures her, halting the attackers he dispatched. Robota is spared by Majima after seeing Chisato's footage, who had come to murder him for failing his first job. Kurumi confesses she is the hacker behind the DA scandal and Takina's firing at Laika Rico, although she was not behind the guns transaction. She then plays them the video of Chisato taken by Robota. Later, Majima ambushes her and compromises her eyes during the struggle. The moment Majima spots her Allen Institute necklace, he becomes interested. When Takina arrives and saves Chisato, Kurumi crashes her drone into an RPG-wielding lackey, prompting him to blast Majima, who survives while they're fleeing. Takina, who is now at Lyco Rico, accepts responsibility for her own acts and refuses to place the blame for what occurred on Kurumi. As she tells them that, they now know Majima's name. Kurumi assures her of their commitment. In the meantime, Majima confronts Robota once more and commands him to research Chisato more. With that being said, we've reached the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, don't forget to like the video and leave your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for all our new videos. Until next time.